I'm doing a negotiation with somebody I don't know, and it's in this setting as opposed to like a kink setting, it's very different. Because if I'm in like a BDSM dungeon, we're definitely probably pre-negotiating for up to weeks, depending on the type of play we're doing. And in a BDSM dungeon, play does not necessarily mean sexual contact.
Right.
Like penetration doesn't typically happen in those types of settings. And so here, it's a little different because I don't know the person that's coming. It's considered pickup play. They'll see maybe me working on somebody, or they'll see Craig working on somebody, and they'll come up and they'll be like, "Can you do that to me?" And I'll be like, "I could do something like that to you. We could try it." You know, and I'll come and I'll set them up, and right before we get on there, I'll ask them, "Hey, do you have any medical conditions that I need to be made aware of? Do you take any blood thinners? Because I don't want them to wake up the next morning and they've got bruises everywhere with my handprints on them." Some people like that, some people don't. Are you okay if we leave marks on your body? Maybe because bruising will happen. Are you okay if I put my hands on you? If I lay my body on you? Can I put my hand around your neck? Can I put my hand in your hair? And then sometimes what I'll do, a lot of people I'll be like, "What are your limits?" And they'll be like, "Oh, you can do anything." I'll be like, "Girl, let me go get some scissors. We about to have a good time." I'll be like, "You know what? When they give me that type of response, I'm like..."
This podcast contains explicit adult content, mature themes, and candid conversations about sex, dominance, power exchange, and ethical non-monogamy. It is intended for audiences 18 and over only. Listener discretion is advised. The views expressed by our guests are theirs alone and do not necessarily reflect the views or values of the hosts, producers, or affiliated brands. The Bull Brotherhood Podcast is for educational, entertainment, and empowerment purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be interpreted as legal advice, medical guidance, or psychological counseling. We speak from experience, not credentials. Always practice consent, respect the boundaries of others, and follow local laws. If you're not comfortable with frank talk about sex, kink, dominance, or emotional power, this probably isn't the show for you. But if you're ready to step into your masculine edge and embrace a lifestyle that demands mastery, welcome to the Brotherhood.
Welcome to the Bull Brotherhood Podcast, where we talk power, pleasure, and the art of dominance in ethical non-monogamy. This is not your average lifestyle podcast. This is for men who lead, men who master, and men who leave a lasting impression. If you're here, you're not just curious. You're ready to elevate. So to all the bulls, hot wives, stags, and open-minded explorers, we see you. Let's go.
Oh yeah, claim the mind, train the body, on the soul, deep connections built on trust. Let's all go from conversations to the passion that we hold. This brotherhood's from Manosphere.
What's good? What's good, y'all? This is Socrates from the Bull Brotherhood Podcast. I'm kind of rolling solo this time, y'all. So, Siren is off doing her thing. We are at Splash Mocha, Fort Lauderdale, 2025, y'all. And I'm really excited today. We got Brian Morgan is off, y'all. He's chilling in home base, and the wifey is off, probably flirting with some dude at the pool right now. But we got a really special, exciting episode for you guys today. We got some awesome people from the dungeon here in Splash, and they're going to talk about, what they do in the dungeon and how it works. And first, we're going to start off with Mr. East Coast himself. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Real good, real good. I remember the first time I saw your ass, I was like, who is this nigga right here?
Yeah, that happens a lot. People say that a lot in their first impression of me.
Yeah. Then we got Barbell Vixen. What's going on, girl?
Not much. How are you?
Not much, man. Y'all have heard her before, so you know what you can get with that. I'm excited. And then the lovely Eve. What's going on?
Hey. Gallivanting here at
Yes.
Splash Mocha.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm usually the interviewer. I'm the one that asks a million questions, but this time, you know, I'm rolling solo, and we're just gonna have, you know, the crew here kind of explain how it goes down at Splash Mocha when it comes to the dungeon, because, you know, kink is a little different than what we normally do in Splash, and, you know, it's a different world, and we're gonna have them kind of talk about it. So, you know, I don't know how you want to get it going, brother, but, you know, tell them like what the dungeon is all about and what can they experience when they come in.
All right. So first of all, I want to say I run the dungeon here at Splash. This was originally set up by Glim, who is Sir Drez. And, you know, I want to give a shout out to him. Unfortunately, he passed away several years ago. And this is all still set up in his honor and his memory. You see there's a sign outside with him standing on it. So again, unfortunately, he passed away several years ago. I don't consider this this is kind of like dungeon light to me. You know, this isn't, if you come to Splash and you're looking for a real dungeon experience, that's not what this is. I do a lot of flogging. You'll see people come in and do some flogging of their own. At a couple parties, you've seen someone doing some shibari, some rope tying and stuff. I do have a violet wand, and I'll use that. But it's more of dungeon light for several reasons. But yeah, it's not a dungeon like people would consider it to be out
Right.
in the street if they were to pay to go to a dungeon. You know, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, because I just feel like you're introducing this to that community.
Right. This is a lifestyle party. It's not a kink party.
Right.
You know, so a lot of stuff you may see in a real dungeon, you're not going to see here for several reasons. Because as I say during a lot of my seminars, I don't want to scare somebody off to the craft. You know, so I do lighter stuff that are going to help people get over their fear of pain and different things, rather than reinforce their fear that it's going to be painful. And, you know, thankfully I've been able to turn a lot of people on to flogging and different parts of have the kink side of things.
Every time I'm here and I talk to people about their experience, I'll have one or two people say, man, I had a great time in the dungeon. And they talk about the experience with one of you guys. And what do you guys like the most about it? Barbell, like, what is the thing that you get most excited about when you're in here and you're knowing, okay, it's going to be Friday night, Saturday night, it's going to be popping, and you're going to have always have someone new in there? What is the thing that excites you the most about it?
I think really just them coming in, and, you know, they all want to congregate in front of the door. I'm just trying to bring them on in. Like, you can come in, walk through, see what's going on, and to see them come in and watch. And they might turn around and leave within a few minutes, but then to be able to see them come back again. So they'll come back, and they might cycle through a couple of times. You know, and sometimes it takes them a couple of times to come in before they are ready to try it. You know, so I like seeing them come in and out and kind of learn a little bit as each time they've come in.
Yeah. Just like when you first come to the door, there's usually like a crowd at the door peeking, right? Like, I don't want to step in there too much. They might hit me or something.
They might beat
Exactly.
me. No, come on.
Yep. So I think when it comes to the kink dynamic, there's a power exchange, right?
Yes.
So talk to me about that power exchange and like how you guys kind of fit in that.
So, again, I run the dungeon here. I don't consider myself a dungeon master, and partly because of what I explained earlier. You know, there's a lot more that goes into being a master than the things that I do. My craft and my specialty is the flogging. But as far as the power stuff, you have the different types. There's the top, there's the bottom, and then there's the person who does both, and they're a switch. And that's what we represent up here at the top, the bottom, and the switch.
In that order.
In that order.
Yep. So you being a top or a dominant, right?
Right.
What does that entail? For people who are just really getting into this, what does that mean? What's the difference between a top and a bottom?
We got into a little bit of this yesterday in the class. The top is the one that's mostly administering the things, and the bottom is the one that's receiving. I was going to say submissive, but I mean, it doesn't mean you're submissive because you're on the receiving end of it, because there are some tops who will be on the receiving end. Like Tim was over here yesterday, and he actually said there's certain things, like he likes fire play, he likes needle play, so he is a top, but in those forms he can't do it on himself, obviously. So he has to bottom out for someone.
Gotcha.
But I like what he said yesterday. He said instead of like giving and receiving, he will ask people, do you want to do what is being done, or do you want to have what's being done to you? And so that's how he kind of, explained it in our class yesterday.
And as a bottom, right, like from your perspective, what does that mean to you, especially in contrast to being a top or a switch?
So I have no desire to administer anything, to be the one doing any of the actions. I'm always the bottom, so I'm always the one receiving, whether it's the shibari where it's being tied, or the flogging, or with the violet wand. I'm always the one that's receiving. It's always being done to me, and that's where my enjoyment comes from.
What do you look for in a top? Like, if a guy, from what I hear in the kink community, there's a lot of, not just guys, right? You could be, a top could be a female, could be a male, could be, right? So a lot of tops say, oh yeah, I'm a master at this, or I'm a top, or I'm a dominant. And I hear a lot of subs say, nah, he ain't, he don't know what he's doing. So what are you looking for in a top that, whether it be male or female, that you're looking for something that says he's going to be a good experience?
To be knowledgeable, to be able to explain to me what they are going to do, to be able to ask me what I would like for them to do, because that tells me that they at least know what they're doing. And so then in talking with them, be able to get that sense of, not, like I said, knowledge, but then the safety and the security within that. There's still a certain level of trust. So like, obviously my level of trust with him is much greater than with anybody else. But Eve has flogged me. So there is that sense of trust with her, that I knew that I was good with her. Yeah.
So I practice shibari. I've been practicing that for about 3 years now. And I agree with you. If somebody's not asking a point, do you have any joints that we have to look at, right? Where are the places that are sensitive? Do you have any, some people, if I'm gonna put you in a contortionist position, do you have back problems? Do you have aches and, pains here, right?
Flexibility issues.
Flexibility
mobility
issues, right,
yeah.
right? If they're not asking those things, I know at least you don't have, I wouldn't call myself a master or like an expert at it yet, especially in the suspension side of it, but I know if you're not asking those important questions, then you have a lot more to learn. Now the switch, that is the thing that fascinates me the most, man, because to me it's a mode. As a dominant person in general, right? I own businesses. I'm the head of my household. I like to run things. I like to direct things. I'm in that mode all the time, and I'm not at the stage where I kind of need to get away from that just yet. So it's weird to me to switch that mode. How do you do it? Like,
It's definitely a power dynamic type of thing. I don't submit to somebody I have no respect for. There's a respect factor. There's a trust factor. I don't bottom for very many people, and everybody here could probably attest to that. If anything, it shocks people when I do bottom, because I just don't do it. But that shows a level of respect that I have for the person that's topping me, or that is my dominant, or whatever the case is. I didn't come into the lifestyle as a switch. I came in like where I was just like, nah, I don't want to do anything. I want to sit here, I want to look pretty, and you're going to do stuff to me. But I am dominant in my everyday life and everything that I do. And so eventually I in my effort to want to help my dominant in this type of space, I was like, oh, well, I could hit some people with some stuff. And then I liked it. My partner now, he's like, every time he introduces me, he says, "This is evil." And I'm like, no, Eve. I'm real nice, I swear. And
I don't know. She's got a look on her face at some point will make you think otherwise, honestly.
so people have to come and find out. But I eventually evolved. I had the evolution. Not everybody has that, and that's okay. But I evolved in that space here at Splash Mocha, where I learned, man, I really like manipulating people's bodies and making them be like, ooh, I kind of like that. And they didn't even know they would like that. And so that's what I get off on.
Yeah.
Now that's what I get off on.
Yeah.
We do a little pre-negotiation because I don't know a lot of the people that I'm out here slapping up or playing with my hands or pulling hair on the bench. I don't know most of them. So I like to talk to them a little bit. Hey, do you have any medical conditions I need to be aware of? Are we on blood thinners, contusions? Like, do you have any fractured ribs? That's kind of important to know. Oh, you have stitches? Oh, well. Because sometimes what I do, is sexual in nature. There's no penetration or anything like that, but I'm touching you in a real sensual way. And that might pull on some skin, and if you've got stitches, girl, we can't play like that because I don't want you bleeding. But yeah, for me, it was an evolution, and it's a respect factor if somebody's going to top me or be a dominant for me.
What are you looking for in that area? Especially now you're pointing out respect. What are you looking for that you can respect in a top?
Somebody has their shit together. I move real slow when I look at partners, and I really watch for a while because I want to see how people move. Because you can watch somebody from the corner of the room and be like, I don't know how I felt about that. And some people will turn me off. They didn't even know they turned me off. But I move slow, especially when it's me that's on the bottom. I'll move real slow. And then if it's like a bottom, I just kind of have to pay attention to their body at that point. Body language is so important. Your body tells on you before your mouth ever will.
Facts. Very true. So we have some people in the audience here. Anybody want to ask any questions? That's what they're here for, to kind of educate you on how this part of the lifestyle works and, what we do here and any kind of questions that people might have when they're, getting into it.
It's ironic that Tim walked in because we had just finished talking about you.
Were your ears burning?
Yeah, we just finished talking about you.
No? Okay.
Now, I got a question for Eve. Is there a time where you have topped and bottomed in the same night, in the same dungeon?
Yeah. Are you talking about like at the same time?
Not at the same time, but like, you'll top somebody and then you'll switch and be the bottom that same night.
Last night. Yeah, I was in here last night. My partner was in here. He beat me over there on that bench. My legs are too short for that, so now we know that. And then right after, I had some people that know me came up and were like, "Can you do something like that to me?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And I was high. I was like, "This is great." Like being beaten or being the bottom gives you this high that they call subspace, and that's where I was last night. I was in that subspace. I kind of came down from it a little bit, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm ready. I've got energy." And my style is very sensual, so I use a lot of my body. I use a lot of my hands. I don't use very many implements. I grab hair. I might put a hand around your neck, but we negotiate all of that too. Like I make sure, hey, are you okay if I put my hands on you? Are you okay if I put my hand around your neck because I don't want to trigger anything, right? Are you okay if I pull your hair? Like those can be triggers for some people. For me, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. But for some people, those can be triggers. So yes, I have definitely done that on multiple occasions.
It's great I love it when Eve is in here because you get to see a contrasting style. I am, like she said, she's a lot more hands-on, and I use a lot more implements. I do a lot with my floggers. I will do some touching and stuff like that, but there is a huge contrast in the two.
Yeah, our styles are definitely different, but great. That's the beautiful part. And
there's also
there's some men that come in that want to be a bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and they may have an issue being a bottom for another man. So especially if Eve's here, we're like, if that's really what you want, like when she comes back, she'll be back, like, and they're a little more comfortable being a bottom as a male, for her.
Yeah, I have 2 men lined up for tonight, actually.
Yeah, I love it. It's great when she's in here. It really is good. Tim, what you got? You got to say something, man? What's
I
up?
just have a question to ask if there are any questions. I would say that currently it sounds like each one of you are in your position that feels right, top, bottom, whichever. Are there any times where you guys reevaluate your position and say, where is this best for me? Or how do you stay open to life, like maybe growing and evolving to something else, like just being open for the possibilities?
Man, it's like Eve said, I've always been a naturally type of dominant personality. You know what I mean? I've always been, like in college, I was voted captain. I've always been, like at work, I say, hey, let's do this. I'm kind of out in the front leading everything, so I'm not really as interested in becoming a bottom or a switch. I like that lead role. Just like she said, she likes that submissive side. I like that dominant part of it. It's just in my nature to be a dominant, leading type of person. So I really don't have an interest to be a bottom.
And for me, in my everyday life, I am like Eve. I am alpha. I am in charge of everything. I've raised my children by myself for most of their lives, and I make all the decisions, and so I'm dominant in every other aspect of my life. So when it comes to the relationship side, the lifestyle, the kink side, I'm just a bottom. That's just all I am. And so for Eve, when she said, she gets pleasure of being able to manipulate somebody's body and make it do something they didn't know they might even like. For me, just to be in here and watch that happen. Mm-hmm. So that's where I get off, is being able to watch either one of them make that happen for somebody else's body.
There's a lot of people that are like that too. They're in charge of. When I first started getting into kink, and the first time I picked up floggers, I remember there was a girl who she wanted me to be dominant, and again, I was just coming into and learning all of this, and I didn't understand it at all. And she said basically the same thing. She said, I am the boss at work. I am a single mother. I run everything. So when I get into the ethical non-monogamous part of it, I want to be completely dominated. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people, my cuckolding group, there's a lot of people that are like that in there, that is their release for that, to be the submissive side away from everything else in their life.
I love that part, because the cucks that I first got involved with were very high, either high security clearance or very high up in corporate America, or military. And these are, on the outside world, you would call them alphas, right? These are domineering men who have not only a personality presence, like not only, when they walk into the room, their personality shines the same as you, but their physical presence is there. But seeing them in the room and, caged or tied up, and their significant other is just barking orders. and it's amazing to me. So Eve talked about negotiations. So tell me, anybody who wants to jump in on this one, tell me what you're looking for in that negotiations. Are you just, I know you're looking for like, okay, what are your aches and pains? What are your do's and don'ts? But are you going beyond that? Are you looking for anything beyond that? Or you just want to know, hey, what are the things that you want me to do or not do? And then I'm going to work with that.
When I'm doing a negotiation with somebody I don't know, and it's in this setting as opposed to like a kink setting, it's very different. Because if I'm in like a BDSM dungeon, we're definitely probably pre-negotiating for up to weeks, depending on the type of play we're doing. And in a BDSM dungeon, play does not necessarily mean sexual contact.
Right.
Like penetration doesn't typically happen in those types of settings. And so here, it's a little different because I don't know the person that's coming. It's considered pickup play. They'll see maybe me working on somebody, or they'll see Craig working on somebody, and they'll come up and they'll be like, "Can you do that to me?" And I'll be like, "I could do something like that to you. We could try." And I'll come and I'll set them up, and right before we get on there, I'll ask them, "Hey, do you have any medical conditions that I need to be made aware of? Do you take any blood thinners? Because I don't want them to wake up the next morning and they've got bruises everywhere with my handprints on them." Some people like that, some people don't. Are you okay if we leave marks on your body? Maybe because bruising will happen. Are you okay if I put my hands on you? If I lay my body on you? Can I put my hand around your neck? Can I put my hand in your hair? And then sometimes what I'll do, a lot of people I'll be like, "What are your limits?" And they'll be like, "Oh no, you could do anything." I'll be like, "Girl, let me go get some scissors. We about to have a good time." I'll be like, "You know what? When they give me that type of response, I'm like, what do you not want me to do? Because that's a good indicator. Is there anywhere you don't want me touching?" And most of the time, I don't touch genitals at all.
Right.
I don't touch, female genitalia. Depending on the person, and if I know them well enough, I might touch their breasts. But we got people in here that come out squirting, and I haven't touched their genitals. And that is the high.
Yeah.
Ooh, that feeling is real good. But that's typically what my negotiation will look like.
Nice.
See, I passed it to Eve, and one thing I say, and they can attest, I said it yesterday, is that in this setting, I'm only in here from 10 to 2, and there's a lot of people that come through here. A lot of people there. I mean, there's days where I think in Houston, somebody said there was like 70 people up in here. And I don't get a chance to go through a full negotiation and a full scene with somebody. If I do that, then there's a lot of people that are not going to come back in the dungeon because they never had an opportunity to do something, So it's like I waited in line for 2 hours for you. So I tell people it's a shorter journey. So a lot of times, and because I'm not as physical with things as she is, it's okay, I'm going to do this. Okay. Are you okay? Have you been flogged before? No? Okay, well, relax. I'm good at reading your body language. Speak up if I do something that you're not happy with. I can usually tell from your body language, but if there is something that you did not like or something that triggers you, say, "I didn't like that." Turn around and let me know so I know not to do that again or to tone it down some. But it's a journey, man. I take people from here and I have to bring them up here really quickly because I don't have the time. And then I don't have the time for aftercare the way that I want to or should be doing because I bring them up so fast, I bring them back down kind of, I wouldn't say as quick, because you still have to be conscious of a lot of things, but it's a quicker journey. So because of the environment in here, I have to be different. So I'm not allowed to have those negotiations like they have. Now, if you come in here, you will see Eve and you'll see Tim. Tim comes in a lot. And you'll see them sit on the floor for 20, 30 minutes before they work on somebody. I just don't have the time to do that. While I'm sitting there talking, there's people in the dungeon just sitting around looking. And now they lose interest and now they leave. Right. So I have to keep things kind of moving in here.
Nice. I like that. Barbell, as far as negotiations from a subs perspective or a bottoms perspective, what are you looking for? Like, what do you want to hear your top, ask you, or how they approach you, or how they do the whole negotiations part?
Well, I think my favorite thing is what Eve just said a second ago. What do you not want me to do? Because as a sub, as a true bottom, I can answer that a whole lot easier than I can answer what I want you to do to me. Because, I'll try anything once, and maybe again. But, it's just, maybe it takes twice just to make sure.
Exactly.
But
maybe the first person didn't do it right.
Right. And so because of that, I know there are certain things that's a no. So I can easily answer what I don't want you to do to me.
Right.
But I can also, if there are certain things that I'll kind of try anything. So if there's something that a top wants to do to me that I've never had done, tell me what you're wanting to do with me. And describe that to me, and let me make a choice. Do I want to try that or do I not want to try that? So again, that goes back to that knowledge.
You know, like Eve said, somebody's got their shit together. Like, you know, I need you to be asking me what my triggers are, you know, and what I'm okay with and what I'm not okay with. Those things are easier to answer than what do you want me to do? You know? So again, more, what do you not want me to do? Those are some hard answers that you can just boop, boop, boop. We check those off, you know, move on through that negotiation.
Nice.
I don't know if you want to answer this as well, but Eve, will you go through the different implements that you are going to use on them? Like when I walk in and I show somebody, they may not have been in here before, I say, hey, here's my floggers, here's what I use, this is made of this. Do you like this? But this is probably what I'm going to use.
I don't. I like that sensory deprivation piece where it's an adventure. We're going on an adventure.
It's a trust thing too.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
so
Yeah, because, and I'll tell them, I'll be like, I'm not here to cause you pain. I'm here to cause you 100% pleasure. Some of that might be through a little bit of pain. Now, if I'm going to work with somebody that's maybe like a heavy masochist, that they want to be beaten, I'll show them certain implements. Because if I'm gonna hit you that hard with it and that's what you want and you get pleasure out of that, yeah, I'm probably gonna show you the heavy ones that are over there and tell you this is one of the things I'm gonna work on using on you. So in this particular setting, no, I'm not showing them. I usually just use 3 little things: a nice soft flogger that's back there, a soft paddle that's back there with a real cold handle that's real nice when your ass is on fire.
yes.
And then like one other thing I might find that, you know, might be interesting on somebody. But other than that, I don't really use very many other implements but my hands and my body.
Definitely for me, each occurrence is going to be different. I'm going to it depends on the bottom and what is happening at that time and that day and that specific thing for the bottom. If I feel that there's a lot of anxiety for the bottom, and this is really like one of their first times, then I may go to the point where I am explaining and showing out one of the tools and implements. However, if that anxiety is so high where more information is not good, then I'll cut it short and I'll be like, it's going to be okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and I'll just work through the process. So it depends on what their level is. And each person, you know, has a different thing that they do, the way they live their life. You know, for some people, more information makes them more comfortable because they have the information, and here's a here to here to here, and they can play now, and vice versa for the other person. So it really depends on the scenario. I started out last night with a process, and it helped. I feel like it helped the bottom. Like, okay, here's what we're going to do, and here's the thing, and okay, all right, now let's do this thing. And another person was like, oh, but like this, or like this, and like this. I was like, all right, sure, we can do that. We do that. Never got there because the scene changed, and we were moving and pivoting during the scene change, but it was their comfort level. So stereotypically, as I identify as the top, stereotypically bottoms are looking to be led and are looking to have more of the process catered for them, you know. So asking them questions about the scene is like contrary to what some bottoms are looking for, you know, more of just laying out the process and having more of a direction and then pivoting that direction. You say left and you maybe go a little bit right, but you start somewhere, and then I like to interact, and then as the bottom is leaning the other way, then go the other way, kind of just flow with the process, but start out something and then be able to say the things that they don't like. Oh, you don't like this. Okay, so we'll put that way over there. And you don't know about this? Well, this is not that. Let me try that, and then gauge that temperature and go from there. So pulling out all of the tools is fun for some people, but then it is not something that I do most often because I have so many tools and it's so many different things. And you're only going to use a certain amount of stuff going on, you know? Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
So for those of us who have not been here, if you walk into this room, there are several. What's the name you're using for all the? I call them instruments of pleasure. What's the name you guys call it?
For the implements,
Implements.
Floggers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you walk in here, there's a whole table full of different kind of floggers and other
There's
implements.
paddles and
Yeah, talk to me
different
about
things.
that. Yeah, talk to me about that.
So again, I mostly use floggers. So I've got different ones all the way from and as I said, if there's somebody that is new to all of this, I'll go through and say, hey, this is made out of, I've got finger floggers that are made of lambskin. And then I've got some that go all the way up as rough as bison. You know, so and then I'll show them the different levels and show them this is how I'm going to build up. But again, as he said, I mean, this is mostly for the people that are new to the experience, just to show them, hey, this is really soft. And then sometimes they'll say, I don't want to try that. Okay, you ain't got to try it, but you know. But so again, it goes all the way from light all the way up to really coarse and stiff. And some of it can be kind of deceiving too, because I have a couple pieces that are really thick. And what we say is it's a thuddy feel to it, but it's really, it sounds violent, but it's not violent. It's a big, strong, heavy sound. But and with the one, I think it's made out of bison or buffalo, and it's really thick and heavy. So when I hit, I mean, you hear "bow." It's a big, heavy sound, and sometimes when I hit them, when I strike them, you'll see their whole body jump forward. But then they're like, "Oh, I kind of like that." It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
And then the ones that are smaller are they're more stingy, and you know, just the different feelings of them. But then I've got one over there. It's kind of deceptive. So I try to tell people, I try to keep my eye on them because it's made out of like a paracord. But in the middle, there's chain. So you get people that grab it and start swinging. And I'm like, hey, calm down. Mind what you doing. And then I show them, they're like, oh. So, I mean, it's a wide range of different things. And as Tim just said, I don't even get to use everything on my table. You know, I have my favorite pieces, and especially for a 10, 15-minute session, I'm using a bunch of, you know, mainly the same ones. But then for cool down, I have a flogger that's made out of rabbit fur. And that's another one where I can hit you as hard as I want to hit you, as hard as I could ever hit somebody. And you'll hear it, but it's rabbit fur, and it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt at all. And then to calm people down, I have rabbit fur gloves with some spikes in them, which is a lot different sensation. And then once I get people up and have their blood flowing and everything, I've got a pair of chain floggers. And they're sitting in ice.
No, you didn't say chain floggers.
Yes.
Got a pair of floggers made of chain, and they're sitting
In ice.
and you just rub that across people, and like Eve said, you know, that different sensation, man. You see people going through all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, when you've got their body all warmed up and their skin is all red and you can touch it and you can feel that heat, and then you take that cold and put on there, it is like, it's a whole different experience.
Ooh, y'all got me going.
And
Man.
you can feel that heat too, man. You can once I get a really good session with somebody, like 15 minutes later, you could still feel heat coming off of their ass. You know, it's a great feeling. It's like you want to see them do like that Tom and Jerry cartoon where he gets on fire and just sits on the ice and have it melt around him. Because that ass
You see
is
that
on
steam
fire.
coming up?
Yep, that butt is on fire,
You know,
man.
temperature play is so fun and deceiving, and just people are like, oh, wow.
And that gasp and
Yeah.
it's everything to feel them and see them.
See their whole body.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen it, and it is the word that you wouldn't think you use in kink. To me, that is so much there is seductive.
Yes, yes,
It is so seductive.
it is.
So
My finger floggers. So I've got floggers. Most floggers you see has a handle on them. Mine, there's a couple that I have where they attach through my fingers. There's a little loop on the end, and I swing them, and I can get to like John Wayne with his 6-shooter, swinging them through the air and doing all sorts of stuff, you know. And people say, I've had people comment on how I handle the floggers and do that, and it is rhythmic, and people love and enjoy watching me work like that.
Yeah. Trust me, I've seen people in the audience, and you hear people whispering to each other, and they're like, "Oh my goodness!" It sounds like it's a journey. It sounds like you said it. You said you're taking them, and the audience can't see, but from a low point to a much higher point. And it seems to me that you guys, after the experience that you have, you start knowing where to take them to get to the next level.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And that's about reading body language. Right. That's about reading the person. How does the couple come involved? How does so let's say a male and female come in, and the female's in the bottom position, and the husband's a cuck or a stag, and he wants to see his significant other go through this. Are you interacting with him as well? And kind of seeing what he wants to see, or is it all really about the person that you're?
Me personally, it's about me and that person who I'm flogging. Because again, if I'm paying attention to something else, I may miss a body clue that, and I'm flogging her, and she may react, and I miss it now because I'm paying attention to him. Now, what I have done is I flog people and have their significant other sit in front of them and watch. And I actually had one couple, I flogged her, and she got so turned on, and he came up to me the next day, and he sat there and watched her body reaction, watched her face, and they started holding hands, and they connected. And he came down the next morning, he was like, "Man, thank you so much for that." We went upstairs, and we fucked like crazy. It was unreal. He said, "Thank you so much for that." So I've done that to where, they've connected, but I haven't really interacted with that person because my focus, and I tune out everything that's around me.
Yeah,
I have to be locked in to her.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend of mine, though, that when she comes in and he flogs her, she wants me to sit there in front of her and hold her hand and rub her face. But then she also does it for me when he's flogging me. And, to get that, there's times that I need that, that connection with somebody else there too. So it's a different connection, when you need somebody there, especially with him, because, he can take me through all sorts of emotions, and again, he still needs to be reading me, and to have somebody there for the other part of it that I need is always nice.
For me, it depends. Because, for example, last night, I have a lot of couples that will come in and the husband just wants to watch me flog or do whatever it is that I'm going to do. He just wants to watch me do it to her. And that's the turn on for him. Beautiful woman doing all of these really sensual, like naughty things to his wife or his partner. And he's just sitting there watching from like the sideline, kind of peeping on the corner and just doing his thing, And then there are some couples that I'll be like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this? Like, I can give you certain instruction, and this will be your post while we're playing." And so there is a couple that I have in mind right now, and every time that I work her on a station on one of the benches, I'll tell her husband, "Hey, I want you to come up here, and I want you to say some nasty, dirty stuff to her. And I want you to pull her hair when you think you should be pulling her hair, and I want you to put a hand around her throat, but firm, every once in a while." And I'll see them up there, and I'll kind of listen to what's going on, and I'll see what's happening, and I'll flow off of whatever is going on with him and what he's doing to her, and making sure that he's turning her on and he's not turning her off. Because that's something that I have to watch out for, too. Like, I'm here to give you pleasure, baby. Pleasure is our birthright. So I want to be able to give that to you. And sometimes it'll depend. Some husbands want to, some husbands don't. Some husbands don't even know that they want to. So it really just depends.
I love that. So you guys are looking at how they're like vibing with each other as a couple. You're looking at how, their experience level, right? How much they know. You're looking at body language. You're looking at all of those things to kind of see where I can get them, where they're starting at, and how I can get them to where I want them to be. Talk to me about subspace. So I have to admit, I think it's something that I don't understand. So in Shibari, subspace, a lot of times they're almost there when you start restraining them. And it's a long process, but it seems to me that impact play and other things like that, there's a point of subspace. But I'm probably getting ahead of myself. So talk to me about subspace. What is it to you? And describe the feeling, that when you're in subspace, what is it and how does it feel to be in that, I don't know, thinking state of being? I don't know.
I'm not thinking. I'm not. I mean, when I'm in subspace, and especially with him, not really so much here. I mean, it's happened, in the dungeon here a time or two. But for me, like, I don't hear other people around me. I don't even hear the music anymore. And there's always music in here. I don't feel, how you're with your body, you can feel things moving around you and coming. I don't feel anything except him and where he's at. So I'm totally not thinking. It is all just feeling. It is what I'm feeling at that point. And so then, when he does bring me down, my whole body will shake at times. There's been times I get off the bench and I have to be laid down on a table or on the floor and covered up.
That's aftercare,
yes,
right?
and covered up and brought water, because it takes me some time to learn, like, regain my bearings of where I am. So yeah, I'm not thinking when I'm in subspace. It's all about what I'm feeling.
It's a euphoric state.
Yeah.
You just I don't know if I've not experienced a subspace. I mean, we have a top space, but I mean, it's kind of like consciousness, being unconscious while you're conscious.
Oh, damn.
We've
well, at least we got one other philosopher on the show.
We've all
awareness.
We've all kind of had some sort of subspace where you're, like I said, you're consciously unconscious, and I mean, Eve probably could explain it a little bit better, but I think that's you're conscious of things that are around you, but you like kind of lose control of things, and you sense things, but it's like you just lose, not control, you still could, but it's harder for you to control your being because you have this state of euphorism.
Right.
That's
Euphoria. State of euphoria.
Yeah, because like, for me to be moved from the bench to the table, or I can't do that on my own.
Yeah,
when
you
I'm
get
in
them, they get
subspace.
deer legged, man.
Yeah.
I can't take myself from one point to another. There have been times they hand me water and it's just like, I can't even,
Hands are shaking and
Yeah.
everything. Yep.
It's definitely a body high. From the bottom perspective, subspace is definitely a body high. Top space is a little different. Subspace is, you're literally floating. That's why we call it space, because it's like you're floating through space and you're just like this being and you're there. And I know that sounds real metaphysical and weird, but it's true, because you're out there, you're floating. Yes, you get deer legs. That's why, we'll take people off of these benches and we help them into a seat because they typically cannot stand. And what we do here is really just little demos. 10, 15 minutes. We're giving them these feelings so quickly. And then we're setting them off into the playrooms. Go do something fun.
Go do something nasty.
Yeah, and so, it's literally like being in a really soft hammock for a little while, and your body just feels real good, and you feel the heat on your ass, or you feel it wherever it is that you're feeling it. You still sometimes feel the tingles on your skin from whatever it was that they were using.
Yep.
Temperature play, all of that stuff. And it's just a really nice, meditative almost state.
Nice. Well, we're coming up on time here. Is there anything I didn't cover you guys want to talk about, or, experiences that you like to see when you guys are in here?
I mean, the only thing I like, again, I like seeing people turned on to the craft. I love it when someone new comes in. I've had people pull me over in the pool or outside, say, I want to try it. I want to come in. Just come in. I love, and again, this is part of the reason why I don't do heavy impact, because people already have a sense that this is going to be painful, it's going to hurt. And I love turning them on to where they say, wow, it doesn't hurt. I kind of like this. You know, I like how it felt. And then them trying to describe it. It's a good feeling to have people turned on to this and have them do a 180 from, no. There was a girl several years ago who I went to a house party of a friend of mine, and she saw me with the floggers, and she goes, "You stay away from me." And she saw me flog some people. She saw me flog some people. At the end of the night, she goes, "Hey, come here."
I want to try that thing you were doing.
She said, "Come here."
That thing you just did.
Right?
Maybe
And we
I'll
were
change my
staying
mind.
in the same hotel, and that night I went over to her room and flogged her. We had a great time, you know, but she was turned on by it after that. That is what I love more than anything, to see people turned on to a new kink that they may not have known that they liked, or you know, or changing a person's opinion where, you know, they've had a bad experience. They were somewhere and somebody walked up to them and fire, they get hit with something, you know, and they're like, I didn't like that. I'm like, well, he never should have done that to you. He was wrong for doing that.
Right.
You know, so that is what I love more than anything, is turning people on to this new experience, and them gaining. I've had people text me, "Hey man, I need this. Where can I get a couple floggers? Where would you recommend I get something like that?" That is what I like more than almost anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's mostly what we're all after at that point, is just being able to, like I said, I want to manipulate somebody's body and be like, oh, you didn't know you were going to like that, did you? I love that. And if I was going to give anybody advice, just like I was saying to Ree, try anything twice. Try everything twice. Try it once. You're still scared. You don't know what to expect. Now, after you've tried it once, there are some things that you're going to be like, nah, I'm never going to do needles. Don't come over here with that. I'm good. But there are some things that you'll be like, you know what? That wasn't so bad. And now you know what to expect. And maybe with a different person, it'll be even better. So that's why, you know, there are certain things I don't like, but I'd be willing to try it with certain people. Just because maybe they do it different. Like me, I do it different. So what I always tell people, even in like vanilla world, try anything twice.
Well, and I think we said yesterday in our seminar, somebody asked, you know, like, what advice would you give somebody, you know, walking in to this dungeon for the first time? And my biggest thing is come in with an open mind.
Be curious.
You know, yeah.
Be curious. Yeah.
Because, like I said, even if you're just stepping in the door, so you can see what this room looks like at night when the lights are all off and the music's on, and you can see what people are coming and doing in here, and then maybe you come back again and you're seeing different scenes going on in here. So each time you're coming through, you're getting a little bit more of information. And if you come into this with an open mind of, let me just see what it's about, then you have room to go somewhere with that. Whereas if you come in to this room like, oh, I'm never going to do this, but I need to go see what this looks like, you kind of limit yourself in the space that you have to go from that point.
Right. So just kind of open yourself up and, you know, be open to what a kind of experience come your way and see where it takes you. Did you guys want to give your social media or handles, or how can they get in touch with you if they want to ask you any questions or see what kind of flogger they want to buy or anything like that?
I am almost on everything, Mr. East Coast, MISSDA East Coast. So Mr. East Coast, on, again, almost every site that I can think of, that's where you can find me.
Nice.
Yeah. And on every site that I'm on, I am Barbell Vixen. So barbell like you would pick up in a gym, and then Vixen with 3 X's.
Nice.
Nice. And I am Beloved Eve everywhere. So SDC and Telegram. Just tell me how you got my information so I don't think that you're a creep. Yeah. Because I'd be like, who are you?
What do you want?
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for being on the show. We appreciate it. You know, I know all of you guys, and you guys are just amazing people. You know, like I said, when I first met Mr. East Coast, I was like, who the fuck is this dude? But, you know, cool people, easy to talk to, friendly, but don't play, and that's the kind of people I like. So, again, we're coming from Splash Mocha, Fort Lauderdale, 2025. So if you want to go to, I think it is splashmocha.com. If you want any information, they're here every one of their locations to have the dungeon, right?
Yes, everyone.
Yeah. So, look online. You can always, if you end up talking to Tina, ask her questions and she'll, tell you what she knows. And then there's always things in the emails and the website if you want any information. So with that, we're just going to, get it going and end it here. And thanks for all the audience here. Thanks for all the questions you guys had, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. We'll be in Houston, but I think the next one is
Houston. It is.
Oh yeah, so we'll be there. We'll see y'all. So I don't have Brian here because he usually has this really nice. Yeah. So anyway, what we gonna do is the ladies do this, and I ain't doing that. I'm just gonna say I'm out of here, y'all, and have a good time.
Bold, confident, and seductive, dominant and classy. We stand tall, never fall. Bull Brotherhood, luxury untold.